October 14th, 2021. I would like everyone to stand, please, and we'll have a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Board Member Daly, are you on the line?
Here.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Watkins?
Ain't getting nothing.
Not working? $17 present.
Okay. We have a quorum. Okay, proclamations?
I'm sorry, next is the approval of the minutes.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself.
That's
Approval of
okay.
minutes, I have a motion, please. Brian, is there a second? Betty, thank you. Any questions, comments about the minutes? Okay, please vote.
Board Member Daly?
Aye.
17 ayes. Next would be proclamation.
Okay, oh, you're going to read that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Proclamation recognizing Bartonville Hardware on the occasion of their 70th anniversary.
Paul, you're going to give that? And then we have the Bartonville Hardware, Greg and Carol. Are they here? McCoy? Greg and Carol McCoy? No, Greg. Greg, okay. And that must be Carol.
Well, it's my pleasure to do this today because Greg and Carol are some of my customers with my business, so we'll get
Yeah, speak right in.
Speak a little louder. Okay, here we go. Whereas Peoria County congratulates Bartonville Hardware Company on the occasion of its 70th year in business, and whereas Earl McCoy and Mac McCowan opened Bartonville Hardware Company in 1951, originally on Adams Street, after having worked together at F. Meyer Hardware in Peoria, and whereas after Mac McCowan's departure from the business in 1953, Earl McCoy and his wife Isabel continued to operate the store and became the mainstays in the Bartonville community, with Earl serving on the board of the Bartonville Bank and as an active member of the Bartonville Lions Club. And whereas after their passing, their son Greg McCoy took over the operations in 1988 and kept the business in the family, and whereas Greg McCoy and his wife Carol continue to this day to run Bartonville Hardware Company, and whereas Greg and Carol McCoy's sons Jeff and Tim are integral to the running of the store and are committed to keep the family in the family-owned, and whereas Peoria County honors the entire McCoy family for their commitment to their community. Now therefore I, Andrew A. Rand, Chairman of the Peoria County Board, on behalf of the County Board, do hereby recognize Bartonville Hardware on its 70th anniversary, dated this 14th day of October AD 2021. Andrew A. Rand and Rachel Parker.
Thank you. Yeah. Who'd have ever thought 70 years ago that the tax situation and the expenses would have grown to what they are now. You know, they just, things changed, business changes, got a lot of good customers, and it's a lot of fun and a lot of work. You want to say a word?
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next would be a proclamation recognizing the 100th anniversary of the Heart of Illinois United Way.
Rachel?
Whereas on October 18, 1921, the Heart of Illinois United Way has brought the residents of our community together to care for one another. And whereas through their Community Impact Fund and partner agencies, the Heart of Illinois United Way invests in local education, financial stability, and health needs to enable the people of Central Illinois to earn livable wages, increase independence, and improve wellness at all ages. And whereas the Heart of Illinois United Way, whether it be in times of war, natural disasters, health crises, and more, has proven it is built to support the people of our region no matter the challenge. And whereas the Heart of Illinois United Way knows we are better together and stronger united. Since its founding, the Heart of Illinois United Way has engaged volunteers and community leaders from across Central Illinois to ensure the fundamentals of safe and stable lives are available to all individuals in our community. And whereas over the past 100 years, the Heart of Illinois United Way has raised more than $337 million through the generosity of people who call our area home. Using data, they continually leverage these donations to guarantee our local network of health and human care services remains strong and provide the greatest return on the community's charitable investments. And whereas, as the Heart of Illinois United Way celebrates 100 years of community impact this year, the organization's history is a chronicle of who we as a community are now, who we were, and how we have evolved to support the community we call home. Now, therefore, I, Andrew A. Rand, Chairperson of the Peoria County Board, and on behalf of the Peoria County Board, do hereby congratulate the Heart of Illinois United Way for 100 years of community impact, dated this 14th day of October, 2021, signed Andrew A. Rand, Peoria County Board Chairman, and Rachel Parker, Peoria County Clerk. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. This certainly doesn't just go to everyone that works at the United Way today or those volunteers and donors that work with us, but all of those that came before us. We are standing on their shoulders. And for 100 years, we have been there through pandemics, wars, recessions, more than we can all imagine, and we will continue to do that. And as we celebrate decades of support of our volunteers and donors this year, it is our responsibility to look back and to continue to drive change now and into the future. We would not be here today without you all. Thank you for being a part of our journey.
Thank you.
Next, we'd be at citizens' remarks.
Okay, now our meetings are in person again. We will be going back to in-person public comment only. This month we did receive one written comment. However, it will not be read pursuant to our board rules that bar personally degrading remarks. Again, no personal the rules for tonight's input, no personal degrading remarks, input only, no debating with the board or the chair. There's a time limit. Typically, we have a 30-minute time limit, or 5 minutes. Well, we have 13 people who have turned in remarks, so we're going to extend that to 3 minutes apiece or 39 minutes for this subject. So starting the first one will be Jackie Petty?
The mic is right there, Jackie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you'll have to speak directly into the mic so that everyone can hear you. It's not on.
The mic's not on, yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, that's on.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Petty, and I reside at 3802 North Malik Drive in Peoria County. I originally sent an email on what I wanted to say to the county clerk, but I decided I was going to come tonight because it bothers me that much. I'm going to read from it and then go back because of the newspaper article today and hit on some of that. We are confused. Please explain to us why you continue to harass the auditor's office. Did we not vote several years ago to retain the auditor's office? Please respect our vote. It appears that you have a personal vendetta and you're determined to override our democracy. The auditor has to have a budget and employees to get the job done. Please stop and cease your harassment, please. I alluded to the article, the article in the paper today, and it said something like she narrowly was narrowly elected. What is that all about? I don't care if it was one vote. Mayor Rita Ali lost her district because of one vote, but she didn't say she narrowly missed it, you know. When you win, you win. And when the public says that that job should be in here, then it should be, until the public takes her out, or whomever is in the position. It also alluded to duplicated services. Well, certainly they're going to be duplicated if you're taking the job out of there and giving it to somebody else to do. It's going to be duplicated if that auditor's office is still doing the job. So, you know, it's a game. And I'm not up to games when it comes to things like this. And I want you to be reminded of what happened not too long ago in Dixon, Illinois.
You have 30 seconds left.
Just remember that. And that tells you why we need an auditor. And I know that there's an outside auditor who doesn't have that. But they come up with what they come up with. So I'm asking you, board, to back up. If somebody's not doing their job, there's another way of doing this. Separate it from what the public has done.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Susie Swice. Oh, it's Catherine. Excuse me, it's Catherine Swice. I apologize. That was my mistake. I don't know where I was looking at.
I've been called a lot of things, but never Susie. My name is Catherine Swice. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Miller, Hull & Triggs. I'm here on behalf of Jessica Thomas tonight, the Peoria County Auditor.
You have to speak into the mic, please.
I don't talk well while I sit. Can I just hold it like Freddie Mercury?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here on behalf of Jessica Thomas to point out much of what Ms. Petty just said, but from a legal perspective, the duties of the county auditor are set forth in the county code. They are statutory. There are 11 statutory duties set out for the county auditor in the county code. The code is clear that the auditor shall perform the outlined duties and shall control the internal operations of their office, subject only to the budgetary restraints set forth by the county board. I know that the board is relying on that language. The board does have the authority to set the budget. The board does not have the authority to budget the office out of existence. And that is what reducing her budget and eliminating her staff effectively does. The only way to eliminate the auditor position is by referendum, which has already been tried, as we know, and was not successful. I also want to state there has been a statement issued, I believe, by the administrator, a statement on the personnel changes that was included with the agenda packet today. And there are several statements made there about things like lean and efficiency in the county budget and preventing duplication of efforts. Duplicating the county administrator's position or duties is not an justification for then eliminating or cutting the legs out from under the county administrator because she has failed or by cutting her budget and removing her employees. So the duplication, as I see it, is the county's own doing. The board duplicated this. The duplication efforts are not to remove the auditor's duties, but to eliminate those which you have duplicated. And then again, I want to point to that statement also said that the administrator, and I presume speaking on behalf of the board, said that they will honor the will of the voters, but called a 19-vote margin hardly a mandate. And I would just ask this board, how many would it take for this to be a mandate? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? 19 votes is enough to pass the referendum. Or I'm sorry, for the referendum to fail in this case. And so on Ms. Thomas's behalf, I would just like to say that this budget, as proposed, should not be approved.
Thank you. Nia McFarland.
Hello. Can everybody hear me? Okay. My name is Nia McFarland Jar, and I'm a Peoria resident. I am here in support of restoring the auditor's budget and allowing the union workers to keep their jobs. I echo the sentiments of those who previously spoke, especially Jackie Petty. I also ask that you are mindful of the way that you refer to voters and taxpayers of this county. To refer to our concerns as noise and disregard our statements by stating that a 19-vote margin is barely a mandate is disrespectful. If anybody on this county board won a seat by 19 votes, we would honor that, right? It's unethical to undermine the vote of the people in this manner. I hope that you maintain integrity as elected officials by voting to sustain an office that the people of Peoria voted to keep. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Martin McNeil.
My name's Kathy Martin McNeil. I've lived in Peoria my whole life. I think you all know what the referendum said, but I'm going to read it. I hope. Not very watching the clock here. I'll find it. It's here somewhere. I know you all know what it says, but headline, make county auditor appointed. No, we voted no on that. It says, shall the elected office of the Peoria County Auditor be eliminated effective December 1st, 2018, and replaced with a professional county auditor qualified and appointed by the county board with a 5-year term during which such appointed county auditor can only be removed from office for malfeasance or official misconduct. And we voted no. And one vote, like they said, is enough. This is a democracy, United States of America. And by the way, United Way has helped me through my lifetime as a client of the CWCT Community Workshop and Training Center. So this country, is supposed to be run by the people, remember? We already said in the Peoria 2018 election what we want for our county, and that was to continue the position of auditor to be an elected position. So why are you having to vote on what the people have already decided? And by the way, for those of you who don't pay that much attention to the national news, this is exactly where we lose our democracy. It starts right here with this group of people, this number of people. It starts small. It's the grassroots of what happens and what is happening right now in this country. And you ain't gonna just scare us with your lies, no, and I don't mean this directly to anyone here, but in general, don't try to scare me with your lies, because I will scare you with the truth. When I say scare, I mean, let's be cautious here, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Lawrence Machard.
Thank you. My name is Lawrence Machard. I live in Peoria and a property owner and proud Peoria County resident. And I just want to say that we've heard already a lot of stuff about mandate numbers. Well, regarding, the original referendum, less than 20 votes, well, that was something going against the status quo. So you've got to keep in mind, it's probably going to be a close vote, which it was. At the same time, Jessica Thomas won her initial election by several thousand votes. So you've got to consider that a mandate. And then the next time when she ran for re-election, she won by like 30,000 margin, okay? She was elected by about over 50,000 people. In Peoria County, that's unheard of. That's a mandate that we all have to respect and acknowledge. It wasn't just the original referendum. It was the election for Ms. Thomas and then the re-election, which was a resounding victory, something like 70 to 30%. That is a mandate of huge tsunami-like proportions in Peoria and Peoria County. Let's keep that in mind. That was a mandate. Also, the board is saying, oh, we're going to save money by transferring these positions, these union positions, into the finance department. We already know that that's not true. The numbers have come out. You are not going to save any money by transferring those positions into the finance department, and it may actually cost more. So keep that in mind. It is not true that the board is going to save money by getting rid of those positions, those union positions, and putting them in the finance department. It is not true. Okay? So you got to ask yourself, why is this happening? Okay? Why is this happening? Partly it's got to be ideological. It's got to be an anti-labor thing. And it's got to be other things as well. There's obviously personal vendettas and personal forces here, okay? Please keep this in mind, the board members. You're voting on your integrity, and your honesty and your own electoral mandates. The Peoria County Board is famous for its unanimous decisions in so many things of importance. This can't be another one for the wrong thing. Each one of the board members has got to look at themselves and saying, why am I going along with this proposal to gut the elected, mandated office of the Peoria County Auditor? They have to look at themselves.
Thank you, Lawrence. Your time's run out.
We will remember what happened here. We will definitely remember that. Thank you very much.
Margaret Kowalski.
Yes.
You have to push the button on, make sure it's on.
Yeah, Mike's
Thank you. Okay, I hope you'll give me another moment or two because it is my job that's going to be cut. So-
If someone wants to give up their time.
Someone already did because they didn't. I'll yield my time. Tim LaBelle.
Tim LaBelle. All right.
Okay, Good evening. My name is Margaret Kowalski, and I'm an assistant auditor at the Peoria County Auditor's Office. I'm here to ask you to vote no on the proposed 2022 budget for my office. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a politician. I'm a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and a proud employee of Peoria County. I came to Peoria County to help. When I started in the auditor's office, we had 16 years of unfiled vendor forms. 16 years. The department had been cut to one person who had been with the county for 30 years, and she had all she could do just to process invoices and keep up with most of the day-to-day requirements of the office. There was no time to do audits, let alone file. I served as her backup and started doing audits and updating forms, policies, and procedures that hadn't been updated in years. She retired in the beginning of February this year. Our office went from 2 full-time employees, one with 30 years experience, down to 1 employee with only 2 years of experience. Because county administration did not notify the auditor that her employee was retiring, we were blindsided in the middle of a pandemic. I went from performing procedural and vendor audits to pre-auditing invoices for 29 departments by myself. I was slammed. I was forced to try and keep up with that workload for 4 months before Jessica Thomas was able to hire 2 new staff members. It was not easy, but I came in every day, I put my head down, and I worked my butt off. I trained the new staff while still working on the invoices. Fortunately, Lori Saunders and Brittany Strickland caught on fast, and the 3 of us were able to clear up the backlog within 1 month. Since then, I've been able to handle the problematic batches, questions from the departments, expedites, and start back on my audits. Just 2 months later, the county administrator notified all the departments not to send their invoices to us any longer. That's how I found out. That's how we were told that they were removing our duties. I got questions from everyone, and I had no answers because I was never told. 2 weeks later, the 2022 budget was released. I was absolutely shocked when I saw that the county administrator and the finance department had fired us. They had cut all funding for any staff of the auditor's office. Usually, when you work hard and you do a good job, you're not fired. That doesn't seem to be the case right now at the county. I worked very hard, and I've done a very good job. Instead of a pat on the back, I'm getting a pink slip. By cutting the funding and firing the entire staff of our department, you will be effectively removing the watchdogs over the taxpayers' money. You'll be saying that you are not to be questioned, that your word is all that is needed. I can question the administrator's spending. I can question the board's spending. Working under Jessica Thomas, I know I won't be fired for doing so. Administration and finance employees don't have that luxury. I know you are all trustworthy people, I do. But we see mistakes all day, every day. I calculated, and we had a miss rate of 0.5%. Out of all the invoices we audited, only 0.5% of the departmental errors made it past us. We strive for 0, but that's a pretty good record. Besides mistakes, there's the occasional bad actor. Just knowing that somebody is looking at the payment can deter many of these activities. When you fire the auditor's office, you leave the county wide open for fraud. So for all our hard work and diligence, we are now facing the prospect of being out of work during a pandemic a few days after Christmas. I've heard some say that we can apply for one of the job openings that are available. I'm a 56-year-old grandmother. I'm not a deputy. I'm not a card. I don't intimidate anyone. I'm an office worker who actually loves numbers and paperwork. Where am I supposed to go? And I've looked at the 13 of the 70 job openings that Mr. Sorrell spoke of. It turns out that there are 13. 2 of the 13 are office worker jobs, and they pay $13 and $14. Those jobs are not at all a replacement of what you are taking away from me. Before you vote, please check your conscience. You know that this is not right. You know this is not good for the county, and it's detrimental to the taxpayers. Please don't do this.
Thank you, Margaret. Carrie Alms. Carrie Alms.
Hello, my name is Carrie Alms. Teamwork is the combined action of a group of people, especially when effective and efficient. Electeds, the county board members, county officials, administration, staff, and citizenry all need to work together. Decisions made in silos continue to weaken the Peoria County as a whole. A mandate, Administrator Sorrell, is an official order or commission to do something. It doesn't involve any type of number. The statutory duties of the auditor are described just as that in the statute, including dollars as a lump sum to run the office to carry out these prescribed duties. There's reports of a new software system, but the statute says that both the auditor and the board have the power to install such a system in county offices and divisions that takes care of these accounting functions. It appears that the auditor has no idea about the software that was prescribed that she was supposed to have a part and a say in. It appears that there was no public vetting that this gutting of the office was going to actually be done. And just because the county creates a finance department, a CFO, and assigns duties, you cannot take away the prescribed duties of the auditor's office that are statutorily described. The legal counsel was here tonight for the auditor. The state's attorney is supposed to represent, all the electeds and the county board. The state's attorney can't serve two masters. The electorate said they wanted an elected auditor, okay? So you need to support the auditor in getting legal counsel to bring this challenge forward, okay? The city administrator states that it's part of the board's duty of being stewards of the public taxpayers' dollars. That's actually true, but when you just seem to transfer duties from one department to another, you're not saving dollars, and this rings really hollow. More than a decade ago, I came to many, many meetings and tried to tell the county there's no such word as certified when it came to the asphalt deal. No one would listen. Administrator Sorrell was then the county's assistant administrator. And for those of you who are around the horseshoe, you will remember that in federal court, the document that I got from IDOT was presented in front of Judge Meems, and the asphalt company won their lawsuit to the tune of $80,000 of taxpayer money, of which you're being such a great steward over, okay? How does this county administrator have the authority to tell the county departments to not send the invoices to the auditor's office? This is absolutely outrageous. Please reconsider this and retain the auditor staff to do the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Jessica Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for providing me with the opportunity to speak with you. As your county auditor, it's my privilege. For the last 3 years since taking office, I have appealed to the county board for a budget that fully funds operational costs and staffing. I maintain my oath to the auditor's office. I have kept my campaign promises. I have placed my statutory duties at the forefront of all decision making. This year, the county administrator budget proposal cuts funds from my office. I can't help but to question the reasoning for this action. Some opponents of this action wonder if this is an attempt to stop the oversight of the taxpayer dollars in Peoria County. These jobs will leave my office without the ability to perform many of its statutory duties, including accounts payable, auditing, internal department auditing, ensuring compliance with the Illinois labor laws through prevailing wage, auditing procurement cards, and managing vendor accounts. And if this wasn't troublesome enough, these cuts leave the hard-working union staff who have been responsible for overseeing the proper care of the taxpayer dollars out in the cold. The budget proposal undermines our voters, our democratic electoral process, and the law. If these cuts are approved, the potential for financial mismanagement is quite likely. The removal of these duties adversely impacts the Peoria County taxpayers in 3 ways. Firstly, they're losing the independent internal audit function that they voted in favor of. Secondly, the taxpayer dollars are at great risk of being misused, abused, and misappropriated, which could cost the county greatly. Transparency matters. And lastly, ensuring that county government is adhering to prevailing wage guidelines is at risk of falling underneath the radar. These duties are bound by the Illinois state statute, which is law, and the union bargaining agreement. Yet the county board has proposed cuts anyway. The Peoria County Board has previously been advised by Attorney General Roland Burrs that these actions are not permissible under Illinois state law. The law has not changed since that opinion was filed. I was elected as the first African American to serve in a countywide office by the people, and I work for the people of Peoria County. Therefore, I will work alongside all involved to come to a resolution for the people. My ask is that the Peoria County Board vote to restore funds and duties to the independent elected auditor's office and stop using our tax dollars to duplicate these duties outside of the auditor's office. I also ask that the 3 union protected positions occupied by some of the most dedicated employees within the auditor's office not be transferred to the finance department or any other department, but instead these women remain employed in their current roles. And lastly, I ask that the county board be transparent and by the fact that $248,395 increase given to the finance department was in fact more than $6,000 more than the 2021 auditor's budget in its entirety. This is not a cost-saving effort. This is an attempt to eliminate proper checks and balances that the county auditor's office provides. So let's call a thing a thing. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Jessica. Brittany Strickland. Brittany? Oh, okay, thank you.
Hello. I came across a quote this week that sums up my statement today. Pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. Ezra Benson is credited, but it has biblical undertones. My name is Brittany Strickland, and I have had the pleasure of working for Peoria County Auditor's Office for 5 months. The decision to leave my career at Peoria Public Schools and join Peoria County was a decision that was not made casually. I have remained open-minded and served with the heart posture of a servant. I am proud of the work we have done in the auditor's office, and the truth is that there's more than enough work to go around. In a country with record unemployment rates and jobs postings on every site, I will not spend much time today pleading for a job that I viewed as a career. I humbly ask the Peoria County Board reconsider voting on the Auditor's Office proposed budget and revisit this matter in a year from today, or put it back on the referendum. I'm concerned about the hasty timeline of this board's proposed cuts. I'm concerned that the pressure of the still prevalent pandemic may be hindering our public service duties. I'm concerned that the treatment of the first African American to be elected to a countywide office legacy could be blurred by stigmas, half-truths, and miscommunications. I'm concerned for the people of Peoria who are watching your presumed unanimous decision today. I'm concerned for the elders of the community who have stated that this is the status quo and that minorities, especially women, should not expect anything more from elected officials. I'm concerned that the county board is leaning too heavily on legal counsel and not enough on the voices of the people. Many young people respect and admire Auditor Thomas, many people, period. And with her winning 70% of the vote, our democratic process encourages that the office be fully funded. This county deserves representation that looks like the diversity in the county. I believe that the people of Peoria County deserve elected officials to sit across the table and sort out their differences. The tactics used by the county administrator seem to leave little to no room for a peaceful transition of power. All 29 departments experienced delays, and personally, my head is still spinning from the short timeline of these events. The fact that my coworker and myself joined Peoria County 5 months ago and now are facing layoffs shows clearly that there is a gap in communication. The fact that the county administrator has formally directed me 3 times to defy a direct order from my superior demonstrates that the gap is too wide. Lastly, the real possibility that this miscommunication could play out in court and that it has forced many of you to ignore your own constituents shows that this has gone too far. I honestly believe that through mediation, a change in heart posture, and some cultural diversity sensitivity training, that the county administrator and Auditor Thomas can work together to find a middle ground that honors the office's statutory duties, the will of the people, and the taxpayers' dollars.
Thank you, Brittany. Your time's up.
Can I borrow like 1 minute from someone? Thank you, sweetie. I assume that there are I assume that these are values that we all can stand behind. This is not about which side is right, it's about what is right. I have the audacity to say that the motives on both sides are probably coming from a good place. However, working together to solve difficult problems is essential. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Lori Saunders.
I want to change that to 2 minutes. I just gave up one of my minutes to Ms. Strickland. You all heard from me last time, and last time I gave you my personal view and how this was affecting me personally. Today, I just have some numbers for you. One number is next year my son will graduate from college if I can afford it. And that number is only $10,000. $725,360.61. This is the dollar amount of invoices I was in the middle of processing on August 30th that had to be deleted and resubmitted by department staff caused by the inadequate planning for the hostile takeover of the auditor's office. This caused the duplication of work for staff. Can you imagine how much money that costs the dollars? Where are we cost savings again? Approximately $248,000 is the amount the finance department budget is being increased. Approximately $242,000 is the 2021 auditor's budget. This is not cost savings because that's about $6,000 more than what the budget was. Again, cost savings? The finance department is getting the auditor's budget without a significant increase in staff, but the salaries are increasing by more than 47%. Cost savings? Really? Approximately $34 million is given to the county. Not one raise for employees, except the county administrator who even got to negotiate his increase in salary. I'd like to increase my salary too. Can I negotiate that? From 0 to what it is now. I'll stay where I am. All county board members' positions are up for re-election this year. Understand that your unanimous silence won't get you re-elected. Understand that not talking to your constituents won't get you reelected. Standing next to those union workers that got you this far will get you reelected. Standing next to those 19 non-mandate people who you say are non-mandate, whose vote don't count, saying that they want an auditor, standing next to them will get you reelected. This isn't only about my job in the auditor's office. This is about who is next. Elected officials don't think that you're immune because you are obeying and complying. There's an official in this room that can tell you that that's already happening with them. Vote no on this proposed budget. Stop allowing yourselves to be bullied. Use your conscience.
Christian Meyer-Cord.
I also prefer holding this, so.
You can take it out of the stand if you don't want to.
I was wondering, but I didn't want to break something and then,
Okay.
be in timeout. The county board doesn't have any authority over the accounting and internal audit systems referencing mandate 55 ILCS 5/3. Authority belongs solely to the county auditor. So then the big question is, why isn't the board trying to work with the auditor and instead hell-bent on circumventing the law as it stands in regards to the auditor? This is the real issue. Voters voted in favor of keeping the auditor's office. Ms. Thomas has not once but twice won elections by an overwhelming majority. You are essentially saying that our own voting system does not matter. It's reminiscent of the past few months of this ridiculousness of our federal presidential election. If our votes for keeping the auditor's office intact are meaningless, then wouldn't the votes that got all of you onto this board into office, as well as Jody Hoos, state's attorney, also be meaningless? My personal opinion, after much research, including past fraud fines of millions of dollars by the group led by Mr. Rand, I have come to the conclusion that you want fraud to take its place back into this county's operations. Also, and for anyone paying attention, it seems that you are frightened by a strong, intelligent, fair, non-corrupt black woman and her staff who are keeping close tabs on you. Do I have to tell you what else this reeks of? Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. We have one last one, Miles Davis. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Miles. I work downstairs in the circuit clerk's office. I work for Bob Spears. He's a great boss, by the way, if he's here. Trying to keep my job tomorrow. I was conflicted on what I wanted to say this evening. Honestly, I still don't know. I'm just trying to keep it pretty short and sweet. I love my job. Everyone I work with, we all love our jobs here. Every day we're faced with different challenges that, we must go through between everyone inside the community and the people from the community that voted for you guys. When we face unnecessary bumps in the roads that interfere with our jobs, it makes us hard to give that service for the people that voted for you guys. So I'm gonna just keep it short and sweet. We just want you guys to invest in your employees. Invest in everyone that voted for you guys so that we can help you guys out. Thank you.
Thank you, Miles. Okay, we received written comments from 5 others that weren't here, and we've used up more than the half-hour limit that we have on a subject, so we will not read those tonight, but they will be entered into the record. Okay.
Next, we will be at consent agenda.
Could I have a motion? Paul and Eden. Any discussion? Comments? Okay, seeing none, please vote.
Board Member Daley,
Aye.
Mr. Rosenbaum. 16 ayes, 1 nay. Next will be at Ordinances and Resolutions. Item number 1 is a resolution from your County Health Committee recommending approval of the scope of work and funding with the Center for Prevention of Abuse for the creation of a long-term care ombudsman senior advocate position.
Could I have a motion? Sharon? Kate? Any discussion? Rob?
Thank you, Vice Chair. I just wanted to make a brief statement about this. Despite everything else that's going on tonight, I really hope that people take away the positive that's happening tonight, and I think this is a huge highlight and something positive that's happening. When we closed heading to Noakes, a lot of the board members didn't want it to appear like we were completely turning our backs on the seniors in our community and wanted to provide a service to them. So it's taken a little while to get this off the ground, but this is going to be a great partnership with the Center of Prevention of Abuse to hire somebody to represent only Peoria County residents. It will be a service that people who really don't know where to turn can go, and if they don't have the answers for you, they can direct you to the resources within the community where they can get their answers. If they're having problems placing a loved one into care, we can help find that for you. We can make sure that your loved one's being taken care of properly. It's really for the people who don't know where to go, for our residents who may have loved ones but don't know how to advocate for them. It's really something that I'm proud to be a part of. I'm proud to have worked with Chairperson Williams on this. A lot of other board members have supported this effort and wanted to make sure that this was a success. And again, it's something that I think we should be proud of doing for the seniors in our community.
Very, very much so. Thank you very much. Anyone else have comments? I know, Sharon, you were very instrumental in getting that started, so we appreciate that. Thank you. All right, please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
Sixteen ayes, 1 nay. Item number 2, a resolution from your County Operations Committee recommending adoption of Peoria County's employee health plan premium increases for the standard PPO $2,000 plan, the qualified high deductible health plan, and the IMRF Medicare eligible retiree plan, effective January 1, 2022 through December 31 of 2022.
Could I have a motion, please? Mr. Ricker? And a second? Thank you, Ms. Blair. Any discussion? Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I would like to introduce a substitute resolution.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Ms. Blair seconded that. Ready to? Okay. Go ahead and give your.
Are we going to go over this before I make a comment?
Happy to, Mr. Chairman. So for everyone's benefit around the horseshoe, we'd be looking at the tan colored handout. That's the version that came out of committee this afternoon prior to this meeting. So at this time, I'm going to actually ask Assistant County Administrator Musselman to come to the microphone on the side and to walk through what the recommendation is from your Operations Committee. And then we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So the substitute resolution establishes a subsidy for the employee share, for a portion of the employee share of the health plan premium. The original proposed increase was significant due to the fact that a few years ago we knew that we needed to not only address the cost sharing of the expense load in the fund, but we also needed to look at how our premiums were structured. And so with that, we worked with our actuary and we needed to create a larger gap in the unit cost, which is the employee and the employer share combined, a larger gap between employee plus one dependent and family coverage. So with that, we established the premiums, but those resulted in a very significant premium increase for those with employee plus one and family coverage. So in looking at the needs of the fund to keep the fund sustainable, but also looking at the take-home pay situations of our employee groups, the committee this afternoon approved keeping the unit cost the same as what was proposed, but reducing a portion of the increase that the employee would pay and having that come from other county funds. So basically creating a subsidy scenario. So for those on both the PPO and the qualified high deductible plan with single coverage, that increase is very small, and so there'll be no subsidy for single coverage. For employee plus one coverage, there will be, the county will fund 35% of that increase. And for those with family coverage, the county for the next year, this is just setting the premiums for 22, the county will have a 75% subsidy, so they'll be funding 75% of that increase. So essentially, that means that those on the qualified high deductible plan will have around a 30% premium increase overall, and those on the PPO plan will have anywhere between a 2 to an 18% increase, depending on which tier that they choose. So it keeps the fund solvent, keeps the same dollar value of the revenue going in, but it just shifts the payment source for a portion of that increase.
Excuse me, how can you have I'd like a point of order. I know I'm only a citizen, but isn't that
You're out of order. You can't commit, you don't do, you
But
can't.
you put something out of committee today that the public has not had an opportunity
You
to
can't
comment
speak
on.
today to this. Okay. Public input is at the beginning of the meeting, not during the meeting. Go ahead, Rob, with your, or Shauna, are you through with your proposal?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, and this is a good deal because it softens the hardship on our employees, and we can do this for the first year and see. I think you stated in committee that before you had a limitation that it was only could raise 5% per year, and we were getting increases of 10%. So we got way out of whack and couldn't. So this initial stab was to try to bring it up quickly, and it was pushing a lot of hardship on the employees. So this was a proposal to overcome that. Okay, Rob, yes?
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to take a moment. I know I said this during committee, but this was a vote that I shouldn't have taken out of committee. I feel like I failed as a committee chairperson on this initial vote. I apologize for any anxiety or stress that this brought upon our employees, because it's a big hit, and it's too big of a hit to expect for somebody who has a family to take. I mean, their money is stretched further anyway, and then they were taking the biggest hit. So I'm happy we were able to come up with something. It's not a zero. It is an increase. We couldn't do a zero, but I'm just, again, apologize that I failed you the first time. Hopefully this makes some amends, and I will do better.
Thank you, Rob. You didn't fail. You got it right at the end. So any other comments? Yes, Brian?
Mr. Vice Chairman, this would have been a tremendous burden on our employees, and so I'm very thankful that we were able to make this palatable for them and come up with a solution. In the same breath, I want to say that, sooner rather than later, we need to really look into all and many different options in the future so that we can maintain, cost affordable health insurance for our employees, because this is an important part of the package for them. It's not just the wage, but when you include this in, it does increase the wage and provides for them reliability so that they have adequate health care. So I hope whoever's in charge of this, that and the committee, or not just Rob's committee, but I think there's a healthcare committee also, but that they really look at all the different options. And I have some ideas as well, but I'm not going to bring them up tonight. Also, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that the state's attorney maybe explain to our citizens how that the committee met this afternoon, and the substitute motion was appropriate to be brought forward tonight.
Certainly. The requirement for posting agendas is 48 hours in advance, and agendas were posted. Notices for meetings were all posted in the adequate amount of time for a committee meeting preceding this larger board meeting. Agenda item was on both agendas, and meetings were noticed, so it is proper. I'm happy to answer board members' questions on that point.
Thank you for that explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brian, I think later on in the meeting, there will be some further explanation about the process of trying to do some more research of what we can do on the health insurance. So,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, Phil.
this health care, of course, is a major issue for us all the time. This is one of the biggest concerns for employees. And over the years, they've been good about helping us here in our county. And twice, I think, over the course of the budget and so forth, I know Mr. Sorrell and I have talked about the health care issue. And I don't know whether Scott had any input or not, but I know one day in a doctor's office I happened to be speaking with Rob, and he and I were discussing some of this in regards to the matters of health care. And absolutely, Rob, I want to thank you for doing the best you could do in helping these people, because they don't need to take this kind of a big hit on the health care. So I definitely am going to support your resolution.
Any further discussion? See? Yeah. We're voting on the substitute motion right now, and then we'll vote on the motion. Okay. All those in favor, please vote. Or vote, whichever.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
17 ayes.
Thank you. Now, do we have a motion on this also? So now we're going to vote on the original motion, which would be as amended. So please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
Sixteen ayes, 1 nay. Next is item number 3, a resolution from your County Operations Committee recommending approval to settle Circuit Court case number 18-L-110 for a payment of $26,676.53.
Okay, could I have a motion, please? Mr. Renaud and Betty, thank you. Any discussion, comments? This is Mr. Ricker.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. I guess just from a transparency, I'd like to ask our legal counsel just to provide kind of a high-level overview of what this is to make citizens aware. Thank you.
No problem. This is a case that involves court filing fees. These lawsuits were brought across the state after a court decision was handed down that certain filing fees shouldn't be charged. So this is a refund of not all that many filing fees. So that's what this amount constitutes, plus nominal attorney fees and class rep fees. Happy to answer any other high-level questions, or we can go into closed session if people have a litigation-related question or need advice.
I see no hands raised, so please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Next is item number 4, a resolution from your County Operations Committee recommending approval of the FY 2022 authorized staffing count for administrative departments.
Okay, could I have a motion, please? Kate? Junior? Discussion. Mr. Ricker?
I guess I would ask just, again, for transparency, if either Administrator Sorrell or somebody could just speak to the purpose of this, just for clarity. Thank you.
happy to. So you'll find this on page 411 in the county board packet. As part of the budget process on an annual basis, you as the county board establish the number of authorized positions that are under your direction through the county administrator. The positions across the organization that are either in elected offices or in quasi-independent boards, agencies, or commissions, we show a budgeted amount equivalent to the number of positions, but you actually do not fix those number of positions, but you appropriate the dollars to pay for certain numbers of positions. In this case here, you appropriate and set the number of positions for those reporting to you through me. The recommendation made by staff and then endorsed by the County Operations Committee sets the number for FY22 at 124.2 full-time equivalent positions. That is an increase of 4.65 equivalent positions from FY21. It includes one FTE in animal protection services. It includes the reduction of 1.5 FTEs in Huntington Oaks Nursing Home. It includes the reduction of 0.3 in county administration, and the addition of 2 in facilities, the addition of 1.65 in finance, and the addition of 2 in county highway, and the reduction of 0.2 in employee health. The reduction of 1.5 in Huntington Oaks and the increase of 1.65 in finance are a direct correlation and relationship to each other. As we wind down the operations of the nursing home to after its closure, we continue to have on the payroll and at your direction pursue aged accounts receivable. We are moving the positions that were previously paid for by Huntington Oaks into the finance budget. Additionally, in the finance budget, we are shifting 100% of the wage distribution for the chief financial officer into the finance. Previously, as you're all aware, Randy, who's currently in that position, was split between the sheriff's office and the finance department from a wage distribution. With Randy going back full-time to the finance, be the finance director for the sheriff, 100% of the CFO's position will now be accounted for in the finance department. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the explanation. Appreciate that. Good question. Any other questions? Yes, Brian.
Just for clarity, I know you just said this, and so I don't want you to repeat it again, but and be redundant. But so the 249,000 increase in the finance department and the 1.65 FTEs is the result of the Huntington Oaks closure and trying to recover accounts receivable. Is that right? And the CFO.
So, Mr. Elsesser, a portion of that to the 248,000 and change increase in the departmental budget is not exclusively personnel-related expenditures. Of that total, roughly 210 or so of it is personnel-related costs between wages and the employer share of health insurance. And again, as I stated previously, and as you just restated, those portions of the budget increase are based upon how we have shifted wage distribution away from the sheriff's office and away from Huntington Oaks, and have put in finance based on those personnel changes.
Mr. Sorrell, down the road in the future, and hope it's sooner rather than later, once they're done working on the accounts receivable, is there a possibility that we wouldn't need this extra manpower?
Great question, Mr. Elsesser. One of the positions related to accounts receivable collections is budgeted for 6 months of FY22. The team member that is in that position is aware that the position is only budgeted for the first half of the year, and will continues to work incredibly diligently in recovering those aged accounts receivable.
Thank you.
Other further questions? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Item number 5, a resolution from your Infrastructure Committee recommending approval of a local agency agreement for participation in the Illinois Department of Transportation's 2022 County Engineers Salary Program.
And give me the motion. Phil and Brian.
So move.
Okay, discussion. Mr. Ricker, well, I'm gonna let Phil go first.
Look, this is our annual setting of the salary for our county engineer, Amy McLaren, and we are one of 99 counties that participate in this with the state, and the state ends up paying 50% if we agree to this setting of Amy's salary for the year. So I think it'd be wise for us to go ahead and participate in this.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ricker. Okay, any further questions or discussions? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Item number 6, a joint resolution from your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee and your Executive Committee recommending approval of amendments to the County Board's financial policies.
Have a motion. Rachel, and a second. Jennifer, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. Trying to mix it up a little. Any discussion, comments? Do you want to give? Any overview on that, Scott?
Happy to, Mr. Chairman. As part of the budget process every year, we evaluate and, where necessary, make recommendations for you to consider to your financial policies. You first adopted your financial policies for the FY02 budget year. This year, we have a couple of changes that we would like to recommend to you, and they were successfully endorsed by the committee when we made those recommendations and are here for your consideration tonight. The first one is in addition to the purchasing section of your accounting policies. And it reads, Peoria County employees should, when making purchases, ensure that a current sales tax exemption form is provided to the vendor so that sales tax is not computed on an invoice and the county avoids paying sales tax. In rare and extenuating circumstances, it may be necessary for a Peoria County employee to make a purchase where it is not practical or possible to present a vendor with the sales tax exemption form and avoid paying sales tax on the purchase. In these cases, the circumstances of the purchase will be reviewed by the county administrator and may result in the sales tax being paid on the purchase if the situation warrants it. That's number one. Number two is a change to the depreciation section of your capital assets financial policy. And here we are adding a phrase in terms of defining how we calculate depreciation. And the sentence with the phrase being added is, estimated useful lives for the category of assets identified in this policy are listed in the accounting policy section under capital assets. The third and final change is in the capital assets portion of your accounting policies. And in this section, you already defined the thresholds for various types of assets that we have. An example would be we establish land at $50,000, lane improvements at $50,000, software at $50,000, intangible assets at $50,000, and several other things. One change that we are recommending is that capital assets for Headington Oaks are capitalized at $2,500 in a useful life of 1 year or more. Previously, that threshold was at $1,000. The $1,000 was a function of Medicaid and Medicare cost reporting. Obviously, now that the facility is closed, those constraints are no longer mandated, and to align with the rest of the organization and the other assets that we track, we recommended that threshold be increased from $1,000 to $2,500. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, anyone? Okay, not seeing any. Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Item number 7, a joint resolution from your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee and your Executive Committee recommending approval of the annual authorization for year-end transfers.
Motion, please. Rachel and Eden, my two standbys. Thank you. Okay, any discussion, clarification, comments?
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, this is a resolution that, again, is a part of the budget process on an annual basis. What this does is it allows the organization to make necessary adjustments in period 13, which will come after the close of the 12th period of the fiscal year, and allows various accounting cleanup to ensure the books are balanced as we prepare our own financial statements for the annual external audit.
Thank you, Mr. Sorrell, for the clarification. Any other questions? Not, please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Item number 7, a joint resolution from your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee and your Executive Committee recommending approval of the annual authorized.
We just did that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mark that off. Just in case you didn't hear that the first time.
Yeah.
Item number 8, a joint resolution from your Finance, Audit, and Legislative Affairs Committee and your Executive Committee recommending approval to abate the tax levy for the principal and interest payments due in 2022 for A, the General Obligation Bonds, Series 2020B, and item B, the General Obligation Bonds, Series 2011.
Mr. Sorrell, would you like to comment on that?
Happy to, Mr. Vice Chairman. Would you have a motion and a second on the floor?
Excuse me, Mr. Paul, and who was the second? Jimmy over there. Thank you.
Right. So this is a resolution that comes forward whenever we have bond payments that need to be made, but there is a revenue source that is an alternative to levying a property tax. We have 2 bond payments in 2022 that meet this criteria. The first is 2020B, which is the refinanced Peoria Riverfront Museum bonds, and we have proceeds from the public facility sales tax to make that bond payment. The second is Series 2011, which are the bonds issued for the construction of Headington Oaks. While there is a proposed levy of 6 pennies of the nursing home levy, and also public facility sales tax proceeds that will make that bond payment, those are all, in this case, and how those bonds are structured, those are alternate revenue sources. So there's a total of $4.6 million in change where you do not have to levy in your debt service levy to make these bond payments. And therefore, a vote to approve this would means that you are abating or negating or eliminating the need to levy those general obligation debt service property taxes, because we have those alternate revenue sources to make the bond payment.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
Member Blair? 15 ayes, 2 nays. Item 9, an executive committee report submitted by the executive committee chairman and the county administrator on the 2022 annual budget for all funds, including amendments recommended by all standing committees. I will read the committees and then the chairs of those committees. A is County Operations Committee, Rob Renault. B, Infrastructure Committee, Phil Salzer. C, Ways and Means Committee, Steve Ricker. D, Land Use Committee, James Dillon. E, County Health Committee, Sharon Williams. F, Public Safety and Justice Committee, Paul Rosenbaum. G, the Joint Financial Audit and Legislative Affairs Executive Committee, James Fennell and Andrew Rand.
Could I have a motion, please? Kate, and who was that? Jennifer, did you raise your hand? Thank you.
All right, so Mr. Vice Chairman, this item, again, is a budget-related item. This is merely just the reporting mechanism before you get to the appropriation ordinance of any changes that were made during the committee process. This year there was only one change made during the committee process. It totaled $5,625,000 of revenue and an equal amount of expense. Those were all made. That was all made in the joint finance and executive committee meeting, and is related to the money you would be appropriating in the American Rescue Plan Act fund. That is a newly created fund and is how we will be accounting for the ARPA dollars that have been allocated to the county. Just for everyone's benefit, notice that I said $5,625,000. Our total allocation is over $34 million. We actually have, from a banking standpoint, deposited over $17 million. But from a budgetary standpoint, we will recognize the revenue as you appropriate a corresponding expenditure. So know that from a cash flow perspective and a banking perspective, the $17 million plus has already been deposited in the county's coffers from the U.S. Treasury. But from a budgetary standpoint, we only move forward with a revenue as we appropriate an expense.
Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Next is item number 10, adoption of the annual tax levy, all funds.
Can I have a motion? Phil Jr.? Discussion?
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, happy to walk through this for the board, and
Absolutely.
The easiest way to look at this is the table that can be found on page 442 of the county board meeting packet. There is a table that is shown there that shows you by fund. The printed page may be a little bit different on your iPad. It may be that number. I'm looking at my iPad and it says 442 at the bottom, but it may be a different number on your iPad. So it shows you by fund and what the statutory limit is that you could levy by in that respective fund, and then we also show some history for you. I will note that there is a Scrivener's error at the top of the far right column that says 2021 payable in 2021. That should read 2021 payable in 2022. So just note that Scrivener's error. The recommended tax rate is 82.41 pennies per $100 of equalized assessed valuation. That is first flat from the current year, and second, consistent with the longstanding policy direction of this body to keep the tax rate flat. Based on the change in equalized assessed value, which the supervisor of assessments is estimating will be growth of 1.1%, that 82.41 pennies will equate to a total levy in the amount of $27,863,685. We divide that total into three categories. First is the operations, second is pensions, and third is debt service. You'll notice that there is nothing levied for in the debt service fund this year, next year, next year there will be no need to levy for debt service. That's because we were able to pay off some short-term debt that was issued 10 years ago this year. There are minor changes in several different funds, but the overall rate remains the same. If you look at the actual ordinance itself, it talks about how we actually use those property tax dollars that we receive on an annual basis. And so, as an example, in the general fund, we have $6,681,065 that we would levy for, and how we would spend those dollars is some of those dollars would be spent on public defender services, some on wages in court administration and the sheriff and the state's attorney, some for related to food that is we're mandated to provide to inmates in the jail, and then all of the electric and natural gas utility costs that are related to the general fund department, and that is actually a partial of what the total utility cost would be. The ordinance would go on then to also explain how we would use the various dollars levied in the other levies that are in the original table. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from anyone? Being none, please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Next would be item 11, adoption of the Peoria County Annual Budget and Appropriation Ordinance for January 1, 2022 through December 31st of 2022.
Could I have a motion, please? Sharon? Eden. Before we get into the discussion of this, we had a lot of input from the floor, and I'd like our state's attorney to please comment.
Good evening. I'll keep this pretty short because I know it's been a long night already, but I do feel as the attorney for Peoria County that I needed to address some comments that have been made. To say or to claim that somehow the board is acting illegally tonight could not be any more wrong. The core function of this entity is to set budgets and to set a fiscally responsible budget for the county. They do it every year. Budgets go up and budgets go down, usually down. And every elected official knows that's what is at the heart of this county board, of what they are to do. To also claim that somehow these cuts are eliminating the auditor's office also could not be more wrong. The office is not being eliminated. It is not going against any referendum. It is simply being right-sized for what the duties currently are. The bottom line is this. The auditor has mismanaged her budget. She is projected to be going over this year by many thousands. The auditor has mismanaged her office for several months now. The county has been in a number of union grievances as well as a number of other potential claims and suits against the county. If the board did nothing in response to all of those issues, then it would not be doing its job. Mr. Davis, I could not agree with you more if you were still here. I could not agree with Mr. Davis more when he said that the board should have their employees' backs. The board should. And if the board ignored all these issues that have occurred in the auditor's office, then it would be ignoring all the other hundreds of county employees and the other elected offices who don't have these issues. Thank you.
Okay, do we have discussion now on the item 11?
So, Mr. Vice Chairman, we can do this a couple ways. There is a floor amendment that was properly filed that I think Mr. Renaud would like to move for, and then we can go through that. There may be an amendment to that. We can go through that and see how it goes. And at some point, at your request, I prepared a high-level slide deck to walk through the totals, and I'm happy to walk through that once we get the amendments out of the way and you're ready to discuss the appropriation and budget ordinance as may be amended.
Okay, we have amendments, and someone wanting to raise. Mr. Ricker?
I have a comment.
So we have an amendment already from action that was taken earlier. So I want to put an amendment on the floor for the budget ordinance, where if you go to page 454, I think, in our packet, and Mr. Sorrell spoke of this a few minutes earlier in the proper sense of how we allocated money from the American Rescue Plan for the year 2022. At the same time, we also, as a board, agreed to provide a subsidy for insurance premiums for our employees, which I think was a very positive move. I'd like to commend Mr. Renaud for taking that action in the committee. So from the standpoint of my amendment, that amount of money that we're providing as a subsidy, my amendment here would be requesting that that subsidy be funded by the American Rescue Plan funds, and that fits very well into the category of covering employees in the American Rescue Plan, and I think it's a very appropriate way to fund the subsidy portion of that. So the amendment I'm putting on the floor, it's in the blue sheets in front of us, would be to take the portion of the funds that were budgeted in the healthcare subsidy that were subsidizing employees' healthcare plan and take that out of the American Rescue Plan funds. So the sheet here has that adjustment. If you have specific questions, you can please address them, and
Just for
myself or Mr.
clarification,
Sorrell.
it's right now proposed to come out of the general fund.
Yeah, it's proposed initially to come out of general fund. The proposal here is to switch over the subsidy to come out of the American Rescue Plan fund.
Okay, we have amendment. Is there a second? Rob? Okay, discussion on this amendment.
Are you voting on the amendment to the amendment or the amendment?
Just the amendment.
Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. The blue sheet.
This is the blue sheet that Mr. Ricker just talked about.
Mr. Vice Chairman, Ms. Bryant had her hand raised.
Who did?
Brandy did.
Oh, go ahead, Brandy. I couldn't see you. I'm blocked with the monitor here.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to say, this was not my comments are not about this blue sheet. Is that okay? It's about the auditor's positions, the staff positions. So, on the day that the committee voted, I was out sick that day. I had to go to the hospital, but I respect my colleagues' decisions to have that unanimous vote that day. It's a very controversial decision. We have a lot of people here today that are, concerned about those, the vote. Today, I am going to have to provide a no vote for that budget. And so I respect my colleagues' decision. I'm sure that it'll probably be unanimous, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you very much. Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? Jimmy?
So I'm seeing that it's like 365,000 out of ARPA and 84,000 out of general funds. Is that correct, Steve?
Correct.
So from a broader discussion, knowing that healthcare, I know we did this year and we're going to have to do that, and part of that funding, thanks to that, was putting some funds aside to look at it, because at the rate that it's healthcare in general in this country, something has to change, that people choose meds over healthcare and everything else. But to find something more sustainable, because the way that these rates have been going up are just not sustainable. So I understand that we can do general fund this year, but we've not had a broader discussion of ARPA funds. So where would you propose, since we've already had ARPA funds, where is this ARPA money coming from?
Yeah. So the ARPA fund comes from the adjustment on line items for building improvements. You see it towards the bottom line of the in brackets, the 365. So we made an adjustment. And again, the ARPA funds, we are budgeting, as Mr. Sorrell stated, over the next several years. Of that 34 point some million ARPA funds. So the amendment here would be to pull some of that ARPA funds and apply it to support our employees this year in 2022, and the adjustment comes out of the 2022 building improvements original ARPA funding. So that's the adjustment.
Mr. Dillon.
I appreciate the substitute motion, but being that I'm just seeing this tonight and we never had a broader discussion about ARPA funds, and that we do have some general fund money that would cover that, I can't support taking ARPA. I could support it maybe in the next year's budget when we have it, because it is sustained money, but I just don't see how using that right off this bat budgetarily is the right move. I think that was a broader discussion that we had policy-wise. So I appreciate the thing, Steve, but I'm going to stick with the using the money from the general fund.
Thank you. Mr. Elsesser, I'd also like to note that the $25,000 that's on here was for the expenditure for a consultant, and that was for when I talked to you earlier about trying to come up with a different plan. That's what that money will be used for, the consultant fees. Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Do you have another comment? Well, I would disagree, Mr. Dillon, in the sense that the whole issue really came up pretty suddenly, just in the last few days. As far as we came to realize that it was going to be a tremendous burden for our employees to try to shoulder this increase, and so we had to come up with a plan, and we came up with a plan as far as the subsidy, and so the whole thing is very, very fresh in our minds, and with a clear conscience, I mean, I really do feel like the COVID issue definitely increased our healthcare costs for the county and our employees, because it it affected our whole society. And so, you know, I have no problem, you know, taking money from the ARPA to use for this, because I do think there was a correlation between the two. And so I would encourage the board to support the blue sheet and the amendment, because we can't continue to but take money from the general fund, because we may need that for other purposes. And so I would encourage a yes vote on this amendment.
Okay, one point then before we vote on this alternate amendment, just for clarification factors, if you vote yes, you're voting for it to come out of ARPA. If you vote no, then it will go back and come out of the general fund. Everybody understand that? Okay. Mr.
Yes, I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I think we need to be very mindful of our Headington Oaks bonds, and for that reason, I absolutely support this coming out of ARPA.
Ms. Relaford?
I also, just to echo the comments that have already been made, also for the same reasons, we'll be supporting it coming out of the ARPA fund.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other input? Okay, seeing none, please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
13 ayes, 4 nays. Motion passed.
Okay, motion carried. Then.
Now we're back to the original.
Original adoption of the budget now. Any further discussion? Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Chairman Fennel. I would like to make another secondary budget appropriation ordinance into the thing. So floor amendment 3, but basically what it would be.
Right, so you're making a motion.
Yes.
And
so this is another amendment to get onto the full-time.
I'll let you describe it, and then we'll get a second.
So it'd be $87,000 into the full-time salaries for the County Administration Program 801. And so what that would do is, where we've discussed in having open positions for the employees that were in Jessica's office, saying, yes, there is county positions, and you would have to apply for those positions. That is not fair, in my opinion, that you would say you have to apply. So what this would do is that guarantees them a lateral position at their pay salary into another department. So this was brought forth by Member Bryant. We've talked about it. I agree with Brandy. We've discussed it. So I would like to see that this is amended, that there is no layoffs, basically, from that. So it's an $87,000. It's not into the auditor's budget, but it is into the county administration budget.
Can I have a second? Brandy, do you want to second that? Brandy, second that? Okay, further discussion? Rob?
I'm very happy that you brought this to the floor. We obviously have 3 very bright, articulate women that we'd love to maintain as employees. So I hope they take advantage of this and stay with us.
Thank you. All right, no other discussion? Then please vote.
One moment, please.
Wait a minute. Please vote. Is it ready?
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
Okay. It's weird. Everyone has. Oh, how did that get in there? 16 ayes, 1 nay.
Now we will be voting on the original motion. Any discussion further? Yes, Mr. Ricker.
I would ask to have Mr. Sorrell review his presentation at this
Yeah,
point,
a good point.
to present to the public the key points in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. These slides represent the recommendation originally, and so it does not specifically include the actions taken previously in this meeting, which include the amendment that was just approved, nor the committee report that was approved in a prior item. But as was originally recommended across all 53 funds, the total sources total $118,582,000 and change. The largest source of revenues are our intergovernmental revenues. That includes sales and use taxes, income tax, personal property replacement tax, and any grants or salary reimbursements we receive from the state of Illinois. The largest, in terms of uses of funds, the recommended budget was $121,888,000. Obviously, that has increased now based on the actions taken earlier this evening. The largest component of our expenditures are personnel services. That includes wages, benefits, pension obligations, and employee health related costs, including the claims that we pay on that are submitted by our team member plan members of the health insurance fund. Yes, those numbers are out of balance, and that is because we have planned use of fund balance in FY22, which is something that is permitted within government accounting. 2 is described in how we do that, both in the Government Finance Officers Association and in your own financial policies. 2 short, quick examples for you in terms of how we're going to use planned use of fund balance in FY22. The first is we've been saving for a number of years in the IT fund for a replacement to the enterprise-wide financial system and software. You approved a contract through a competitive procurement earlier this year to a vendor for that software. So we will have a planned use of those reserves for that purpose. Second would be any road and bridge project that is of a substantial size. We have a long history in the road and bridge funds where you save up money for a specific project, and then once we have enough money in reserves to fund that project, then we go ahead and move forward and appropriate the dollars to fund the project. And that's exactly what's happening in FY22. This graphically shows what we talked about about property tax during the levy ordinance item a couple items ago. The blue shaded pie wedges represent the operating funds and levies of the organization. The green represent the pension obligation levies that we have. A couple of notable changes that I did not highlight when we were talking about the levy ordinance, but are shown here. The general fund levy decreases by 3.99 cents. There's a 3.54 cent increase in the risk management fund. As we discussed in County Operations Committee and again in the Joint Finance Executive Committee meeting, based on the recommendations of an analysis we had done this year from Bellwether, we are going to discontinue the allocation methodology in favor of aligning our risk management levy and the tax rate associated with that levy with what our actual risk-related expenditures are. There is a 0.17 cent increase in the U of I extension levy. That restores that levy to the pre-pandemic levels. If you recall, last year you cut that levy in half, so we're just restoring that to those levels. Based on the smaller workforce, an increased number of team members being in Tier 2 in IMRF, and investment performance, we are recommending to, and you approved earlier, a decrease in the IMRF levy of 0.29 pennies. There is a 1.82 penny increase in the FICA fund. That is to recapitalize the reserves to meet seasonal cash flow needs. We've talked about that in the committee. We have fund balance policies in our property tax supported funds so that we have an adequate amount of cash on hand for that period between January and June, especially in the latter 3 months of that first half of the year, when it's been the longest since we've received any property tax revenue. And then, as I said earlier in the levy ordinance discussion, because we paid off some short-term debt this year, there is no need for us to levy have the debt service levy in FY22, and that's a 1.256 penny decrease in the debt service levy. If you look at these pie charts show that total recommended budget by committee. So you can see on the revenue side, the executive committee has the largest oversight, followed by county operations. On the expenditure side, public safety and justice has the largest percentage of oversight in the organization. Specific to the general fund, we originally recommended a balanced budget of $47,185,810. This includes the general corporate fund and the PCAPS fund, which is, from an accounting perspective, is classified as a general fund type fund, so it's those two combined. Just like the overall budget, our largest revenue source here is intergovernmental revenues. All those sales taxes and income taxes get deposited here, along with a substantial amount of the personal property replacement tax and salary reimbursements that we receive for positions budgeted in the general fund. On the expenditure side, the largest portion of our appropriation is personnel services. From a general fund perspective, the executive committee, because that's where all the property taxes and sales taxes and income taxes are accounted for, executive committee has the largest oversight of revenues. But because you've got the sheriff, the courts, the state's attorney, the public defender, and the coroner, which are all significant budgets, specifically the sheriff, the Public Safety and Justice Committee has the largest oversight from an expenditure standpoint. We've shown this graph a number of times. This is the general fund. The blue area represents fund balance with projections out to 2035 in the model that we've created and have been using for a couple of years now. The black line represents your adopted fund balance policy in the general fund of 24%. You can see that for a period of time now we are above that line, but based on historically the pace at which revenues grow in relationship to expenditures, there will come a point in time, absent corrective action, that the reserves will dip below your policy, and at some point out in the future, absent that corrective action, would actually go negative. A couple of policy initiatives that are in the recommended budget from a personnel perspective. We already talked about some of these as they relate to the departments that report to me, but not all of these are from that perspective. So PCAPS has a 1.0 FTE increase. The public defender, the recommendation is to increase and budget for 3 positions. That continues your strategy of decreasing the contractual assistant public defenders that we've had for many decades. The sheriff budget has an increase of 3.2, and that is shifting. Again, that includes the change in labor distribution for the, between the CFO and the Sheriff's Finance Director. We already talked about the change in the county auditor's budget. Finance and circuit clerk, there's increased in full-time wages to address compression issues. JDC, we're moving to a staffing model that would be for 42 bed occupancy, so that means that the general fund transfer increases, but it also means that we'll see an increased staffing level at the JDC. And then we've, you just had an item related to health insurance. A couple of other project and policy initiatives for the recommended budget. We'll continue to have policy discussions about how we allocate the fiscal recovery funds from ARPA. A couple of economic development components that are in this year's budget. We have year 2 of a 3-year investment in G-Beta, which is a partnership with OSF Healthcare at Distillery Labs. G-Beta is a program that you've chosen to invest in that prepares local entrepreneurs and startups for future rounds of venture capital investment, so that they will grow and become successful businesses in our community. Additionally, year 2 of a 3-year investment in the Central Illinois Living Laboratory. Earlier this year, you approved the local match for an $800,000 grant from IDOT that, again, in partnership with Distillery Labs, will create a living laboratory in the Central Business District, the Warehouse District, the West Bluff, and the South End of the city of Peoria, where tech companies can test autonomous related tools and can grow their business and entrepreneurs from that perspective. There is money recommended to continue our investment in Justine Peterson. Justine Peterson is one of the country's largest not-for-profits that is dedicated towards financial literacy, bankability and banking education in high impoverished areas. They have a physical presence here in Peoria now. They're headquartered in St. Louis. Through the Health Committee, we'll continue the pre-construction discovery and design phases of the Health and Human Services Health Department campus project. We'll eventually come to the Health Committee with a recommendation for your policy consideration as to whether or not we should renovate or replace the Health Department. And then from a COVID-19 perspective, we'll have, the Health Department will continue working on community recovery and managing the operational impacts of that. We talked a little bit about ARPA earlier. This is the total allocation that is recommended in the budget. It is what was originally approved by committee, so we would be adding a row to this that would, based on the amendment that was just approved, that would go towards contributions for our employees at the amount of $365,000. The capital improvements line that you see there in FY22 of $3,725,000, that's where it would come from in specific relationship to Mr. Dillon's question earlier. You can see how at this point in time we're recommending that the $34.8 million allocation be spent over the next several years. And then lastly, this is the ARP fund that you already talked about. And then this is just a slide of what was actually on the blue sheet that that was previously approved. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any other questions of the board.
Any board members have a question? Mr. Ricker.
No questions. I'd just like to make a statement thanking all of the departments that go through the annual budget process. And I know it's a lot of work, especially the Finance Committee, Julie and Randy and all of the other ones, too many to name. But again, due diligence, we did move this ahead in the calendar by a month over normal. So we did challenge our administration and staff and electeds to start the process earlier. So I'd like to thank them publicly for their work that they've done. And as one board member, this is my second year of being able and having the privilege to sit in a majority of those working meetings, along with a few of my other fellow board members. It provides some really good insight on how the county operates and the business. I've always stated that if you understand the numbers, you understand the business. So thank you for the work that the finance and all of the other departments and electeds have done. And thank you for giving us as a board the opportunity to get closer and understand.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Chairman Fennell. And I just wanted to thank administration and thank the electeds and their staff, because I remember sitting in here in a meeting. I mean, we've gone into December to approve budgets. We've done November. And when the task was laid to do this in October, everybody kind of looked around and were like, are they serious? So I know we asked for it earlier this year. The employees and the electeds did what they always do and came through. So I appreciate it, especially knowing that we're in year 2 now of COVID, and we went through 12% cuts here and people were there. So this budget process has not been the normal budgets that we've always seen. We've seen numbers cut, like State's Attorney who said, typically they have been cutting. So now that we've seen some positive economic news around here lately, they are starting to trend in the right direction. So thank you, Chairman Fennell, your leadership in the Budget Committee. So I just wanted to recognize that this is the first, to my knowledge, Mr. Sorrell, is this the first time we've done October?
In the 28 years I've been here, yes.
So I just wanted to make that point that it is the first time that we've ever approved a budget in October, and it wouldn't be possible without them.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Any other comments? Go ahead.
Most importantly, Mr. Fennell, I cannot remember a time that we've still kept the tax levy and we haven't raised taxes. So the only time that I think in a long time that I can remember that we've raised taxes was on voter-approved referendums. So important note, this budget does not include any tax increases.
Absolutely. Okay, any other comments, board members? Seeing none, please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
15 ayes, 2 nays. Item number 12, suspension of rules.
Talk about.
This is the vote where you suspend your local rules to vote on the subsequent proclamation, since it did not come up through committee, and that's because it deals with the pandemic and up-to-date numbers and whether or not the governor extends the proclamation, or I'm sorry, the disaster proclamation. And a reminder that this allows us to take advantage of COVID relief.
Kate has a motion, I have a second. Sharon, thank you. Okay. Any comments, questions? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
16 ayes, 1 nay. Item number 13, a proclamation extending the declaration of emergency due to COVID-19 in Peoria County, Illinois.
And we do this every month to make sure that we're available to get reimbursement for any COVID things. So Kate's the first, Jennifer's the second. Thank you. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Board Member Daley?
Aye.
13 ayes, 4 nays.
Miscellaneous announcements. Anyone have any going around the room? Boy, a quiet group tonight. Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.